Hello everyone, welcome back to our video series as we continue our journey on building our Red Team Cyber Range Lab. We've been working hard on polishing the lab infrastructure since we now have a whole bunch of systems and workstations in place. So Windows Active Directory. So far we've done a whole bunch of things, but I wanted to step back so we can regroup and understand some of the things around Windows Active Directory, especially when it comes to organizing stuff around AD, right? So when it comes to AD, most things are what we call objects, right? Objects are users, groups, computers, group policies, ACLs. These are things that comprise of information that we try to organize within an Active Directory. Now, in order to make these more well organized in a structured way, we usually put them into groups, and this group is what we call organizational units. The reason why it's good to have OUs is it helps you to organize groups into various categories, makes it a lot easier for you to reach them or reach specific resource or specific object because it belongs to specific organization units. So for instance, let's say if you want to have a group of users that belong to only server admins, you can create a group such like that will comprise of only administrators of a specific servers that can manage that particular service. So you create an OU for that. An example, so we can get into getting into objects in a different ways or OUs in a different ways. So within domain controllers, we can go to the server admin dashboard and then go to tools, and we can go to Active Directory Administrative Center, and then this will give us access to everything that we need to first of all create OUs or even review existing ones. There isn't too much here because it's a small lab, but in a real world production environment you might see different things here being populated. So in our case, we have our domain here, and when we select that, you see that we already have some built-in or some existing OUs already. So these are also, if we double click on computers, you see that we have our machines which have been joined to the domain, and if we go back, we can just click on users, and that is going to give us a whole lot of users. So if you double click on Aaron Jones, for instance, that is going to give us specific information about this user, right? And then we can scroll down and get much more information about this person. So that is how one particular object looks like within Windows environment, right? So we have already created some groups already, but I wanted to step back so we can go through one more task to create some organizational units and groups so we are all on the same page, right? So let me go back to the domain as it's been selected. So from our existing organizational units, we don't have anything that groups all our servers. So let's assume we want to create specific OU for all our servers, so we can move them from computers into servers alone. So we can right click on the domain where we want to create that OU, and then we can go to new and then select organizational units and provide such information. So we can click that, and then it's very, very intuitive for you to see these things, and then we can just type in, let's say, servers. All right, and then that is it. So that will become part of the organizational unit as having servers. There are some information here that we can actually add in. We can add a description. This OU is for the domains servers. That's it. And then this is what I was actually going to, so this is what it belongs to. The OU structure that it belongs to right now is dcgh dc local. Once it's created, it's going to have server, OU is going to be servers, and then it's going to follow this sequence. All right. Yeah, so that was very easy, and that is all that we need. So later on we can actually add in be managed by who can manage these servers, who can manage this organization unit, right? But for the sake of this demo, let's click OK, and that should create our servers for us. The next thing is, what if we want to actually populate that OU with information? We can actually right click on this, because now we only have two systems in this domain. We can right click on the server O1 and actually move it to that new OU, right? Because of course that is the whole purpose, is for us to organize our servers. We could have created one for workstations and also move the WKS01 into that, and then any future workstations we will move it into that OU. So for the sake of this, we are going to move this SRV01 into our servers and click OK, and then that's it. That was very easy. And now if we click on the domain and then we go back to servers, we will see that this server now belongs to the SRV01 now belongs to the servers group or OU. The next is creating groups. We have done this already again, but since we are in line with creating group policies and OUs and things like that, I figured maybe we should revisit that here. So for the sake of those who hadn't seen the previous ones, in order to create a new group, so for instance we have created servers, and we want to create a new group that would manage those servers, and then assign users to that group, so that we provide restrictions as to who can gain access to, let's say, who can administer SRV01. Right click on the domain, and then new, and then group. All right, and then we'll just type in server. Actually, let me make it this ServerAdmins. All right, and then it's going to be a security group type, and we'll just make it global. There are some few other options here. We can just click on protect from accidental deletion. We can add description, so we'll say members administer the domain's servers. We can leave more notes here. We can populate the server admins with new members. So under the members section, we can click add members, and we can, let's say, increase and search for the name and see if we find it. So we're going to add Patrice Lumumba as a member of the server admins. And there are a few additional things here you can keep adding later on, based on your specifications or your needs. I would encourage you to play around with some of these options and see how they play out, right? So that is also easy on how to create a group and populate it on the fly, right? Now there are two additional tasks I would like us to accomplish in this video before we wrap up. One of them is we are going to disable Windows Firewall through a group policy, and also disable Windows Defender. The reason why we want to have these disabled, of course, Windows Defender is, for most of you who may not be aware of it, is essentially Microsoft's Windows built-in antiviral software. It does a very good job with blocking a whole lot of malicious attacks or malicious tools and techniques. So in order for us to make our lab environment practice friendly, we would want to reduce some of these controls as many as we can, right? So I believe, these two might be some of the things that we may want to disable, so that we will be able to execute some attacks in the future. We can turn them on and then try to see how we can evade some of these controls, right? We've done group policy implementation before in one of my videos, but let's go ahead and create these new two policies. Okay, to create a group policy on the server manager dashboard, you go to tools, and we go down to group policy management, and that will pop up, and we'll have the first of all, you normally get to this point where it looks like this, and then you can basically double click or expand it throughout to get to the domain that you want to edit or apply a new policy to. So we will go down to the gh.afro.local, and then right click on the default domain policy, and then go to edit. For in order to disable the firewall, we are going to go to the computer configuration and policies, and then administrative templates, and then networks, and then network connections, and then we'll expand on firewall, and then we'll select on domain profile. All right, so if you select on domain profile, if you can see, the Windows firewall protect all network connections. I went ahead and had it disabled, so typically it will say not configured. So if you click on disable, then that is going to disable the firewall, and it's going to be applicable on all the domains, right? So if you want to read more on what each one of these, what they represent and what they say, you can read more here. So for instance, if you disable this policy settings, Windows firewalls does not run. So that is what we want. Okay, until we click OK, and then that will take care of the Windows firewall for us. Next is we are going to disable Windows Defender. Within the same Windows policy editor page, we can go through to let's collapse this one, the network side. We're still within the admin template, so we just go to Windows components, and we'll go to Windows Defender. Here it is. Okay, and we'll just select it, and then you say turn off Windows Defender. It's here again. If it's not configured, it's going to say not configured, right? You double click on it, and it's going to pop it up like this, and it will be selected. Not configured will be selected from your side, but I have it enabled. So again, if you read on help section, it will give you explanation as to what each one of these means. So in this case, if you enable this policy settings, Windows Defender does not run. All right, so that is what we want. Okay, so once you have these two policies created, we can now exit out. Now what happens is group policy may not take effect immediately. So one of the things that I normally do is I apply to all the machines or to all the within the domain. So you can just type from the command line group policy gp update, and that will update the group policy domain wide. So that is it for this video on our journey on building our Red Team Cyber Range Lab. If the policies don't apply on your machines, I would encourage you to restart them, because sometimes you have to restart the machine for the policy to take effect. I mean your workstations and your servers for the policies to take effect. All right, thank you so much for staying up with me. There are more videos coming up. Like I said, we are going to continue to now create more weaknesses, some configurations, some things that we normally come across on real pen tests and on real red team engagements. All right, again, if you haven't, I would encourage you to subscribe, hit the notification button so that you get notified when there's a new video that I drop in the mail. I drop a new video on YouTube, so you'll be first to be notified. Also share with people that you think might find it useful, and feel free to leave a comment. If there's something that I'm not doing right, please let me know so I can make the videos better, or if there's any specific concept or any specific weakness you want me to demonstrate, please let me know, so I will see if I can have that implemented in the domain army within the environment. Thank you so much. You have a nice day. Bye bye.